I never imagined my retirement would spark a battle that would shake an entire community. After 30 years as a state environmental officer, all I wanted was a quiet life by a small, pristine lake in rural Carver County, Tennessee. My name is Henry Caldwell, and at 62, I thought I'd earned my peace in a modest cabin, a morning coffee on my dock, and the gentle hum of crickets at dusk. But peace, I learned, isn't given. It's fought for. In 2001, I bought 5 acres along Willow Lake, a spring-fed gem bordered by my land and protected by state conservation laws. The property came with a weathered dock, a small shed, and a name etched into a wooden sign, Turner's Bend, after a local fisherman from the 1800s. I loved the history, the solitude. For years, I tended the land-clearing trails, planted native grasses, and stocked the lake with base from licensed hatcheries. I hosted birdwatching groups and taught kids how to spot fireflies. It was my sanctuary. Then, in the spring of 2023, I noticed neon yellow flags staked along my eastern tree line. At first, I thought it was a mistake, maybe a utility survey gone astray. I pulled them out and stored them in my shed. But a week later, more appeared, this time with metal stakes and spray paint. Then came the men in hard hats, peering through my pines toward the lake like it was theirs to claim. Morning, I called from my porch, keeping my tone even. What's this about? One of them, clipboard in hand, smiled too brightly. Just surveying for a new development. Pineview Estates HOA. Building a community center. Won't bother you, sir. But I knew better. I'd heard whispers about the old Grayson farm next door being sold to developers with big plans, a gated neighborhood with shared lake access. Except there was no shared lake. Willow Lake was mine, legally and unequivocally. The first signs of trouble came in glossy mailers from Pineview Estates, inviting me to join the community and share my lake as a neighborhood asset. I ignored them. Then came emails, followed by a visit from a woman in a crisp blazer named Susan Grant, Pineview's community director. Mr. Caldwell, she said, standing on my porch, your lake could be the heart of our vision. We'd love to partner with you. I pointed to the deed framed above my fireplace. It's private, protected by state law. There's no partnership here. Her smile tightened. Sometimes deeds need updating. That's when I knew this wouldn't end quietly. By summer, the rumble of bulldozers echoed through my trees. From my dock, I saw a pavilion rising just beyond my property, a sleek structure with a deck jutting toward the water, complete with picnic tables and signs boasting lakeside access. They'd cleared my trees, redirected runoff into my fish channel, and built a path that crossed my land by 25 feet. I called the county, sent my title maps, and even hired a surveyor to confirm my boundaries. The clerk shrugged. They filed permits for their parcel. Prove they crossed your line. So I did, armed with my 2002 survey, stamped and notarized. I drove to the Carver County Records Office, a squat building next to the town diner, and pulled every file on Pineview Estates permits, blueprints, parcel records. The clerk, a woman named Ellen who remembered me from my state days, raised an eyebrow. Stirring up trouble, Henry? I nodded. They're building on my land, and they know it. She pulled up their plans. The pavilion's footprint clashed with my property, and they'd raised protected wetland shrubs to boot. That's illegal, Ellen muttered. Exactly, I said. Back home, I spread the documents across my kitchen table, surveys, aerial photos, and Pineview's site plan. It was blatant. I called Susan Grant. You're building on my land, I said, listing the violations: encroachment, wetland destruction, false permits. Her voice was syrupy. Our lawyers assure us we're within our rights. I leaned forward. Keep going, and you'll face a state demolition order. She laughed lightly. Let's not escalate, Mr. Caldwell. But they already had. The next week, Pineview hosted a community preview at the pavilion with balloons and burgers grilling. I stood at my property line, watching families stroll down my path, now paved with gravel. A worker spotted me. You can't be here, sir. I pointed to my surveyor's stake. You're on my land. He muttered something and walked off. So I took it higher. At Pineview's next HOA meeting, I wore my old state jacket, badge faded but visible, and waited for public comments. The board, Susan, a stern man named Richard Voss, and 4 others sat in crisp polos, exuding confidence. I'm Henry Caldwell, I said, voice steady. Your pavilion crosses 25 feet into my property. You've destroyed wetlands and violated state law. I've filed a complaint with the Tennessee Water Board. Susan's smile didn't waver. We've reviewed our boundaries, Mr. Caldwell. We're compliant. I held up my survey. This says otherwise. So does the state. Richard Voss snapped. You're threatening us. I shook my head. I'm warning you. Fix this, or the state will. I filed my complaint online that night, attaching surveys, photos, and violation details. 3 weeks later, state SUVs rolled up the old Grayson Road. Leading them was Laura Bennett, a water board officer with a no-nonsense handshake. We're verifying your claims, Mr. Caldwell, she said. Her team fanned out, measuring, sampling soil, and flying a drone. Richard Voss stormed over, red-faced. This is our property. Laura held up her tablet. We're here under state law. Step back. They documented everything. The pavilion's encroachment, cleared wetlands, and runoff polluting my lake. Laura turned to me. This isn't a mistake. It's deliberate. I nodded. They ignored every warning. The state's violation notice hit Pineview like a hammer's-even infractions, $8,000 daily fines, and a 30-day demolition order. No appeals. The HOA's response. A ribbon-cutting ceremony for the pavilion, complete with live music and flyers boasting, your lake, your life. I didn't stop them. I wanted the state to see their arrogance. State agents showed up mid-event, taking notes. Laura called me later. They're escalating their fines. We're referring this to the Attorney General for criminal review. Pineview's residents, once charmed by the HOA's promises, turned furious. At their next meeting, families demanded answers. You built on his land, one shouted. Susan stammered. The maps were unclear. I stood. They were clear. You were warned. The room went silent. The demolition began quietly. Workers dismantled the pavilion board by board, hauling away cedar and glass. Residents watched, some snapping photos, others whispering. A woman approached me, eyes soft. Thank you, Henry. I didn't respond. I wasn't a hero, just a man who refused to bend. The state approved my petition to designate Willow Lake a protected conservation zone, barring future development. Pineview's board dissolved amid lawsuits and refund demands. Leaked emails revealed they'd known the land was mine, but gambled I'd cave. As the last beam was removed, I stood by the lake, the scarred earth already softening under new soil. A boy biked up, pointing at the water. Is that yours? I nodded. It's beautiful, he said. I smiled. It is. The fight was over. The lake was mine again, not because I shouted, but because I stood firm,